Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse, and I just got done with Moon Knight. It was the first episode. This is going to be my spoiler review for Moon Knight again. Guys, I just wanted to start off saying that, this was definitely worth the wait. This is such a great series. Everybody literally was wondering if they were going to push the darkness, which they did, and I want to get into that in a minute. But I just want to start off by saying, I didn't know if anybody noticed this, but they put the Eternals finally in the logo of Marvel, which was amazing. And, going into this, episode, it's 46 minutes. They pack a lot in here in the 46 minutes, and it wasn't very long, but Disney Plus series are known for not being that long, which, again, it kind of annoys me because this is only 6 episodes. And, I don't know what it is with Disney Plus only making things 6 episodes instead of, doing like a normal series thing where it'd be like 10 episodes or something, but I'm hoping they'll really give this story time to breathe, which again, in this first episode, they do. It feels like, we're getting some information, but not, all the information in one thing. It's a great episode to really get us oh my God, what is happening, and really just throw us in and really give us a minute to embrace the world that we're being thrown into with Stephen Grant, because we start off with Stephen Grant in this, episode. And we really see the day of his life where, he's not very confident, he's having sleep problems. He's not quite sure, really what's going on. He goes to work. He's not getting treated very well. There's a girl, that I guess he likes, but he's afraid to talk to. And then apparently that she said that they had a date on Thursday, and, he's like, oh, I don't remember asking her out. And we're really seeing the elements of him losing the day of he doesn't remember things, and that is us pretty much we have to puzzle together in a way that, oh my God, is somebody else taking over, because as we all know, and from the trailers and the TV spots and the lore of Moon Knight, there's different personas, and we kind of are oh my God, that must have been Mark Spector that took over. And it's that's crazy that they're showing us this, that we're seeing the chaos of him not knowing, oh, did I ask her out? Oh, I must have did that. You know what I mean? And us finding out that he's a vegan, but yet he asked her out to, I guess it was a steak restaurant. And I thought that was funny because, again, my sister, she's right here. She's, she's vegan, and she's like, oh my God, that's, funny or whatever. Oh, why would he ask her out? I was like, no, that must have been Mark asking her out. And I just thought that's just so cool that, Mark is the more confident and Steven's the more, less confident side. I was like, okay, that's really cool. And I just loved this episode. Us seeing that part of him and seeing the other part that's the badass, mercenary. Because we get a lot of that. We get, he's trying to stay up. He does this, thing every night where he tries to stay up, keep his brain active so he's not falling asleep, because he knows that, he ends up, as we see from the trailers, he ties himself to the bed. He puts, dirt around his bed or sand to make sure that he's not going out of the circle. So, he knows that nothing else is happening. He's not sleepwalking. So I just love the moment where nothing has been moved around and tampered with. So he thinks that, oh, I've just been sleeping. But then he ends up going to sleep on Thursday night and ends up waking up in some weird small town. It looked like, I'm not sure where, but that was insane. And he ends up laying in this grassy area with his jaw undone. And that's when I first realized it deserved the TV-14 rating, because when we start this episode, we get the TV-14 rating. I was like, oh my God, because I heard yesterday from Comic Book Cast that they are and I also heard from Kevin Feige a while back that they did not pull back their punches with this series. And to see Comic Book Cast say, oh my God, they're apparently as episodes go more into Moon Knight, they're really going to earn the dark TV-14 ratings. I was like, oh my God, is this going to be true or not? And we see at the beginning of this episode, we see, Ethan Hawke's character putting glass in his shoes. And I was like, oh, okay, we're at that level. But I didn't really know that was going to get that violent until we see, of course, Steven waking up in that grassy area, not knowing where he is. And he ends up fixing his jaw, and he ends up having blood on his mouth. I was like, oh, okay, we're really here. And he ends up he's Steven right now, not knowing where he is, walks into town, and he's just being people are running after him. He doesn't know what's going on. And there's subtle moments where the camera and Oscar Isaac do this weird it's he's rolling back his eyes and transforming, and then that's when he transforms into Mark. And there's cut scenes where that's when he turns into Mark, and like he ends up being bloody and stuff like that. And I love those elements. It's like another personality is taking over. I'm just loving what they are doing with this series, and like the subtle Easter eggs to like when he's Steven and then, he has a goldfish. It's called the goldfish problem. There is a pyramid literally in the tank with the goldfish. I thought that was a cool little Easter egg. And to like, he works, of course, at, the museum, but I just love that there was like, honing into like the main tone of the show. I just love how we really see those cool elements of, again, the Easter egg to the pyramid. And, we end up seeing the fish like having like one moment it had one fin, the other moment it had two fins, and he ends up taking the fish. So like, what the heck is going on? This fish has two fins. Before it didn't. It was just floating in the tank. Now it's swimming around. Is that normal? And apparently he came in the other day, and Steven didn't know. I'm assuming it was Mark that came in there. I just love that he's losing track of the days, and we really know that when, again, he ends up coming back from doing that mission as Mark or whatever. And ends up waking back in the bed, and Steven just thinks it's a nightmare and thinks it is Friday, but actually he lost 2 days and he stood up that girl. And I just loved that scene. And, he's down in the dumps like, oh my God, am I going insane? Because he lost 2 full days. And now I feel like he's starting to realize, was that actually a dream I had? And I just love those elements of him losing the days, him being sleepy, him feeling like he's insane. I'm loving the vibes of him just not knowing what's going on. And he ends up finding the phone in his apartment. And that's when he kind of realizes, oh my God, like this is really, like, is this real? Because he ends up finding Mark Spector's phone in like the, kind of like in like a panel in the wall. But he doesn't realize that until he comes across the floorboards kind of like, up and raised from the movement of the table. And I love those subtle details. And that's when he ends up calling the girl Layla on the phone, which we're going to get her later in the season, or later, I guess, in one of the episodes, maybe the next episode. I'm not quite sure when she'll come in. But she is friends with Mark Spector, and I feel like she'll really explain to Steven, like, kind of like, oh, like, you're Mark Spector, you know what I mean? Because he even says in the trailers, why did you call me Mark? So she'll kind of be the guide of like, oh, you're Mark Spector. And you know what I mean? And he'll be like, no, I'm Steven Grant. So I'm excited to see how that's all going to go down in the later episodes. And I just love how we kind of like have a main villain right now. It's Ethan Hawke's character. I'm excited to see what other villains we're going to get in this series, because we know we're supposed to get that one dude. What was his name, Bethany?
Gaspard Ulliel.
Yeah, Gaspard Ulliel?
Ulliel?
Sorry if we're pronouncing that wrong. Of course, we know... he had a fatal accident and he ended up dying, which, rest in peace to him. This was his big Marvel debut, and it's going to be sad that, we're going to see him, in this series, and he's playing Midnight, you said? Midnight Man?
Mr.
Midnight Man. I'm excited to see him and see what he does, but it just is really sad because, he won't be able to continue his work, and it's very, very sad. But I'm just excited to see the rest of the series, guys. I just want to come on here and give you guys, again, my first spoiler review for the first episode, called, again, The Goldfish Problem. And let me know what you guys liked about this episode. I really want to know. And let me know what, little Easter eggs that you guys saw. And let me know, what you guys thought about this episode and where you guys think the series is going to go. And, guys, the way this episode ended, where the jackal is running after... again, Steven, he ends up running in the bathroom, and then Mark takes over, and because Mark says, I can protect us, or, I can, what do you say? Like, let me protect us? Yeah. Like, let me protect us? I loved that moment, and he ends up turning into Moon Knight, dragging the jackal back, and ends up just beating the crap out of the jackal, ends up turning to the camera. What a great way to introduce Moon Knight. What a great way. I just am wondering what is next. Now that Steven knows this is real, I'm excited. And also, like, Ethan Hawke's character, like, I knew right away when, like, where Steven was at that place and, like, saw, Ethan Hawke doing, like, the cult stuff. And, him, he is, like, a cult for, what was it, Amet?
Yeah, Amet.
Amet, the deity. I loved that. How, like, we saw his abilities and how, like, he... worships Amet, and he's kind of doing like her bidding. I loved that. I thought that was very cool. And like apparently Mark Spector stole the What I hate those things. What are they called?
Scarabs.
Scarabs. I hated those in The Mummy. I anytime I saw them, I flipped out because me and my sister, she got me into the Mummy movies, and like I just got scared of that when I was younger. I was like, ew, gross. But I guess the scarab is like the source of the abilities or something, and like he wants it back. So, and when Steven's like, I don't have this. I don't know where I am, and he tells Ethan Hawke's character like who he is. He's like, oh, I'm Steven. I work at a museum. You know what I mean? You say I live in London or whatever. Like I don't know where I am. And I knew that he was gonna go there and confront him, saying, oh, I thought you were joking, saying you worked at a museum, and no, he kind of realizes that you have chaos in you, and you must be like too. He kind of realizes that it wasn't you, the one that like took out my men. It's somebody else, and he's kind of catching on to what's going on with Steven and him not even realizing like what happened. So I just love that he's realizing that there's something within Steven more than meets the eye, and he's not that assassin that was there, and he was right saying I don't know where I am, and he's kind of putting those pieces together, and I'm loving what's going on, especially him having people staking out. He must have been staking out that museum looking for Steven, because again, Steven left on that Thursday and had 2 days missing of his life. So that gave Ethan Hawke's character enough time to have people infiltrate that, museum to, I guess, keep an eye out to see if Steven would even show up. And I just loved it. Again, a great episode, guys. Let me know what your thoughts and theories are down in the comments below. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put in those notifications, like this video. I would love to have you guys here, a part of the family, part of this channel. We are literally growing each and every day. We are almost at 500, guys. So yet again, I would just love it. Again, if you subscribe to the channel, put in those notifications, and like this video. And let's just talk about it down in the comments below. But guys, that was a video. Hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday for episode 2 of Moon Knight. Peace. And guys, I almost forgot to mention, I love the foreshadowing when Mark is literally, not Mark, I meant Steven is literally sitting at the fountain. It seems like he's talking. I don't know if it's a statue that was, or a person that is good at being a statue, because, he said, don't forget to leave a tip after those people wanted to take a picture with either the statue or the person. I think it was a person. My sister thinks it's a statue. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. I don't think they would be tipping a statue. That's why I think it was like a person pretending to be a statue, and him saying, oh, I'll see you again tomorrow. But I love when he's walking away, the water is reflecting the moon and reflecting, Steven. I loved that, showing two sides of the coin of Mark and Steven. I thought that was very cool, like a little subtle, Easter egg hint to, oh my God, it's coming, you know what I mean? Like that moment. So I'm just happy that, those little cool Easter eggs that we got in this episode. It was just freaking fantastic. And also, when he is in that little, place where, with Ethan Hawke's character, that little town, that, this little cult town or whatever, wherever it was. I love when he's in the cupcake truck and it's literally playing Wake Me Up Before You Go. I love that song, and I love how he's like, oh, this must be, a dream. This must be a nightmare. You know what I mean? I just loved it. It was a perfect song for that moment. The music in this episode was freaking phenomenal. And I would say this is the strongest episode and the strongest series so far of the Disney Plus series. As people said that this was going to be the best Disney Plus series, I definitely think so. I might have to do a whole re-ranking. I knew this was going to be the best Disney Plus series. I knew that from the jump that this was going to be the best. And I'm just happy that I think just for this first episode, I think it is going to be the best Disney Plus series. And it's going to be a fun ranking of the Disney Plus series when this is done. So I'm just super excited. And yeah, I want to know again what your thoughts and theories are down in the comments below. So let me know. Peace.